I need to tell you something that might sound impossible. 5 years ago, I was the trader everyone warns you not to become. I'd been trading for 3 years. I knew every pattern. I could explain ICT concepts, Wyckoff theory, supply and demand zones. I sounded smart when I talked about trading, and I was consistently losing money, not big dramatic blowups, just a slow, painful bleed that never stopped. Some months I'd be up, most months I'd be down. But over any meaningful time frame, my account just slowly died. And the worst part wasn't the money. The worst part was I couldn't figure out why. I was doing everything the courses told me to do. I was studying, I was analyzing, I was trying, but nothing changed. Then something happened that I didn't expect. I didn't find a better strategy. I didn't discover some secret indicator. I didn't learn a new concept. I changed 5 small habits. Habits so boring that when I first heard about them, I almost ignored them completely. Habits that had nothing to do with reading charts or finding setups. And within 6 months, everything transformed. Not just my trading, my entire life, because these habits didn't just make me profitable. They made me a different person, more disciplined, more aware, more honest with myself. And that's what I want to share with you today. Not another strategy, not another pattern, but 5 habits that will change your life forever if you actually do them. Before I tell you what they are, I need you to understand something. These aren't tips. Tips are things you try once and forget. These are habits. Habits are things you do every single day until they become part of who you are. And that's exactly why most traders will listen to this, nod their heads, and then do absolutely nothing. Because habits require something most people aren't willing to give. Consistency. Not for a week, not for a month, for months. Until the habit becomes automatic, until you can't not do it. Seikota, the trader who turned $5,000 into $15 million, once said the key to his success wasn't his strategy. It was his habits. The small things he did every single day that nobody saw. Tudor Jones, the man who made 200% returns during the 1987 crash while the market dropped 22% in one day, didn't succeed because he was smarter than everyone else. He succeeded because his habits were better than everyone else's. And here's what nobody tells you. Those habits weren't exciting. They weren't sexy. They were boring. Painfully boring. But they worked. And they'll work for you too if you can handle the boredom long enough to see the results. Let me take you back to the moment everything changed for me. I just had another losing week. Nothing catastrophic. Just 5 small losses that added up. I closed my platform. I sat there staring at my account balance. And I asked myself a question I'd been avoiding for 3 years. What am I actually doing wrong? Not, what does the market need to do differently? Not, what strategy do I need to find? What am I doing wrong? And when I finally got honest with myself, the answer was brutal. I wasn't doing anything consistently. I'd journal some trades but skip others. I'd prepare some days, but not others. I'd review some sessions but ignore others. I was trading like someone who hoped discipline would just appear one day, like motivation would carry me through. And it never did. That's when I realized something that changed everything. Discipline doesn't come from motivation. Discipline comes from habits. Small, boring, non-negotiable habits that you do whether you feel like it or not. So I picked 5. Just 5. And I made a promise to myself. I would do these 5 things every single day for 6 months, no matter what. Even if I didn't feel like it. Even if they seemed pointless. Even if I wasn't seeing results yet. 6 months, 5 habits, no excuses. And by month 6, I was a completely different trader. Here's what those 5 habits are. Habit number 1. Journal every single trade. No exceptions. I know you've heard this before. Everyone says journal your trades. But here's what they don't tell you. Most traders journal wrong. They write vague notes like good trade or stopped out, bad luck. That's not journaling. That's avoiding. Real journaling is brutally specific. What was the setup? What were the exact entry criteria? Why did you take this trade? What were you feeling when you clicked the button? What was your plan if it went against you? What actually happened? And most importantly, what would you do differently? When I started journaling properly, I discovered something that shocked me. Half my trades had nothing to do with my strategy. They were emotional reactions disguised as setups. I'd see price move and convince myself it was my pattern when it wasn't. I'd take trades because I was bored. I'd take trades because I was frustrated from the last loss. I'd take trades because I saw someone on Twitter posting wins and I felt FOMO. None of that showed up until I forced myself to write it down. And here's the thing about writing. You can lie to yourself in your head. But when you write it down and read it back, the lies become obvious. Seikota, the legendary trader, kept detailed journals for decades. He didn't just track wins and losses. He tracked his emotional state, his thoughts before the trade, his thoughts after. He treated his journal like a laboratory where he studied himself, not the market, himself, because he understood something most traders never learn. You are the variable. The market is just the market. It does what it does. But you, your emotions, your decisions, your reactions, those are what determine your results. And you can't fix what you can't see. Journaling makes you see. Here's what happened when I started journaling every trade without exception. Month 1 was painful. I hated it. Every trade I had to stop and write. It felt like extra work. It slowed me down. I wanted to skip it so badly, but I'd made a promise. So I wrote. Month 2, something shifted. I started noticing patterns in my behavior. I was taking trades right after losses. I was sizing up when I was frustrated. I was entering early when I was impatient. Month 3, those patterns became impossible to ignore. I'd sit down to journal a trade and realize halfway through writing that I just made the exact same mistake I made yesterday. Month 4, I started catching myself before the mistake. I'd see a setup, I'd feel the urge to enter, and I'd remember what I wrote yesterday. And I'd stop. Month 6, my win rate hadn't changed much, but my account was growing. Because I'd cut out all the stupid trades, the ones I took for no reason, the ones driven by emotion. Journaling didn't make me a better analyst, it made me a better executor. And execution is what pays. Here's the commitment. After every single trade, before you take another one, write down what happened. If you can't write it, you can't take the next trade. That's the rule, no exceptions. And watch what happens. You'll start taking half as many trades, and you'll make twice as much money, because the trades you cut will be the ones that were killing you. Habit number 2. Define your max daily trades and stop when you hit it. This one will feel wrong at first. You'll think you're limiting your opportunity. You're not. You're protecting yourself from yourself. Here's what most traders do. They trade until they're tired. They trade until they've lost too much. They trade until they're emotional. They let the market decide when they stop, and the market will always push you too far. Professional traders do the opposite. They decide in advance how many trades they'll take. And when they hit that number, they stop. Even if they're winning, even if the market is moving, even if they feel great, they stop because they know something amateurs don't. Decision quality declines with every trade you take. Your first trade of the day, you're sharp. Your mind is clear. You're following your rules. Your 5th trade, you're starting to fade. Your 10th trade, you're running on autopilot and emotions. And that's when mistakes happen. Tudor Jones has said in interviews that he limits his decisions per day, not just trades, decisions, because every decision consumes mental energy, and when that energy runs out, bad decisions follow. I learned this the hard way. I used to trade until I couldn't trade anymore. Some days I'd take 15, 20 trades, and almost always the last 5 would give back everything the first 10 made. I wasn't improving throughout the day, I was deteriorating, so I set a rule, maximum 3 trades per day. That's it. If I took 3 trades, I closed the platform. Didn't matter if I won or lost. Didn't matter if I saw another setup. 3 and done. The first week felt terrible. I hit my 3 trades by noon, and then watched the market move all afternoon. I felt like I was missing out. I felt like I was being lazy. But here's what actually happened. My win rate went up, not because my strategy improved, because I was only taking my best setups. When you know you only get 3 trades, you become very selective. You don't waste them on mediocre setups. You wait for the clean ones. You wait for the high probability ones. And because you're waiting, you're not tired when they appear. You're fresh. You're sharp. You execute perfectly. Month 2, I started noticing something else. My worst trades were always after trade number 3. Always. If I broke my rule and took a 4th trade, it was almost guaranteed to be emotional. Either I was chasing, or I was trying to make back a loss, or I was overconfident from wins. Trade 4 was never clean. Never. That's when I realized the rule wasn't limiting me. It was protecting me. Protecting me from my own patterns, from my own weaknesses, from the version of me that shows up after I'm mentally tired. Here's the challenge. Pick your number. Maybe it's 3 like mine. Maybe it's 5. Maybe it's 1. Doesn't matter. Just pick a number and make it non-negotiable. And here's the key. The number doesn't reset because you had a loss. It doesn't increase because you had a win. It's the same every single day. Win, lose, or break even, you hit your number, you stop. And if you're honest with yourself, if you track it properly, you'll see the same thing I saw. Your best trades happen before you hit your limit. Your worst trades happen after. The limit isn't holding you back. It's keeping you from destroying yourself. There's a reason casinos don't have clocks or windows. They want you to lose track of time. They want you to keep playing until you're exhausted and making mistakes. The market is the same. It will let you trade until you've given everything back. Unless you stop yourself. So stop yourself. Set the limit. Honor it. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Because the days you most want to break the rule are the days the rule is saving you. Habit number 3. Pre-market preparation ritual. Non-negotiable. This might be the most underrated habit on this list, and it's the one that separates professionals from amateurs more than anything else. Amateurs open the platform and start looking for trades. Professionals prepare first. Big difference. Preparation means before the market opens, you know exactly what you're looking for. You've identified key levels, you've checked the economic calendar, you've reviewed what happened yesterday, you've written down your plan, you know your bias, you know your conditions, you know what you'll do if the market opens strong, you know what you'll do if it opens weak. There's no guessing, no figuring it out as you go. The plan exists before the first candle, and here's why that matters. When you're prepared, you trade from clarity. When you're not prepared, you trade from reaction. Reactive trading is emotional trading. It's seeing price move and scrambling to figure out what to do. It's entering because you're afraid you'll miss it. It's exiting because you don't know where your target is. Prepared trading is calm. It's waiting for what you already defined. It's knowing whether to take this move or pass it. It's executing without hesitation because you already decided what you'd do. Marcus, a trader I know, used to be a complete mess. He'd wake up, open his charts, and just start looking. Some days he'd find trades. Some days he wouldn't. He had no plan, no structure. Just hoped that something would appear. One day he decided to try something different. He set his alarm 30 minutes earlier, and for those 30 minutes, he did one thing. Prepare. He'd review the previous day, he'd mark his levels, he'd check for news, he'd write down his plan in his journal. 3 setups he'd take if they appeared. What they needed to look like. What conditions had to be present. Then, and only then, would he open the live platform. The first week, nothing changed. He prepared, but the setups didn't show up. Week 2, same thing. He was starting to think it was pointless. Week 3, something happened. A setup appeared. And because he'd already defined it in his prep, he recognized it instantly. No debate, no hesitation. He entered. It worked. He made 2R. And here's what shocked him. The entire trade felt effortless. No stress, no second guessing. Just execution. By month 3, he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I'm not trading better. I'm just prepared better." And when you're prepared, trading isn't hard anymore. That's the power of preparation. It removes the mental load during live market hours. You're not thinking. You're not analyzing. You're not figuring things out under pressure. You already did that work. Now you're just executing the plan. Here's what your preparation ritual should include. 30 minutes before the market opens, sit down with your journal. Review yesterday's trades. What worked? What didn't? What did you learn? Next, open your charts. Mark your key levels for today. Support, resistance, liquidity zones, whatever your system uses. Next, check the economic calendar. Any major news today? If yes, how will you handle it? Will you trade through it or stay out? Next, write down your plan. What are the 3 setups you'll take if they appear? What do they need to look like? What conditions must be present? Write it down, not in your head, on paper. Finally, close your eyes for 1 minute. Breathe. Center yourself. Remind yourself of your rules. Remind yourself that you don't need to trade unless your setup appears. Then, and only then, open the platform. This ritual should take 30 minutes, not 5, not 10. 30. Because if you're not willing to give 30 minutes to preparation, you're not serious about this. And if you're not serious, the market will treat you like you're not serious. Professional traders spend more time preparing than trading. Amateurs spend 0 time preparing and all day trading. And that's why amateurs lose. Preparation is where the edge is built, not in the trade itself, in the work you do before the trade. Do this every single day for 30 days. And I promise you, trading will start to feel different, calmer, clearer, more controlled, because you'll be operating from a plan instead of reacting to chaos. Habit number 4, end-of-day review, win or lose. This is where most traders fail. They'll journal the trade. They might even prepare, but they won't review. And without review, you don't learn. You just repeat. Here's what I mean by review. At the end of every trading session, you sit down and answer 3 questions. What did I do well today? What did I do poorly today? What will I do differently tomorrow? That's it. 3 questions. But you have to answer them honestly. And most traders can't. They lie to themselves. They blame the market. They make excuses. And because they lie, they don't grow. Real review is uncomfortable. It forces you to face your mistakes. It forces you to admit when you broke your rules. It forces you to see the truth about what you're actually doing. But that discomfort is where growth lives. I used to skip this step all the time. I'd finish trading and just close the platform. I didn't want to think about it anymore. I didn't want to see what I'd done wrong. I just wanted to move on. And because I never reviewed, I kept making the same mistakes. Over and over. For years. Then I made a rule. I can't close my platform until I've completed my review. Even if it's been a great day. Even if I'm tired. Even if I don't feel like it. I sit down, I answer the 3 questions, I write the answers in my journal. And only then do I close the platform. The first week, this felt like punishment, especially on losing days. I didn't want to relive the trades. I didn't want to see what I'd done. But I forced myself. And something started happening. I started noticing patterns. I was breaking the same rule repeatedly. I was making the same emotional mistake every time I had 2 losses in a row. I was entering too early when I was impatient. These patterns were always there. But I never saw them because I never looked. Review forced me to look, and once I saw the patterns, I could start fixing them. By month 3, my review sessions became my most valuable time, more valuable than the trading itself. Because in the review, I was learning, I was improving, I was evolving. The trading was just execution. The review was growth. Here's what's crazy. The traders who do this, who review every single day, they improve faster than everyone else. Not because they're smarter, because they're learning from every session, they're extracting lessons, they're identifying mistakes, they're course-correcting daily. Meanwhile, traders who don't review keep repeating the same year over and over. They trade for 5 years, but they only have 1 year of experience 5 times. No growth, no evolution, just repetition. Don't be that trader. Here's your review process. 15 minutes. End of every session. Open your journal. Answer 3 questions. What did I do well today? Be specific. Did you follow your rules? Did you stay patient? Did you execute your plan? Write it down. What did I do poorly today? This is the hard one. Be honest. Did you break a rule? Did you trade emotionally? Did you enter a setup that wasn't really your setup? Write it down. No excuses, no blaming the market. Just the truth. What will I do differently tomorrow? Based on what you did poorly, what's one thing you'll change tomorrow? Not 10 things. 1 thing. Write it down. Make it specific. Make it actionable. That's the process. 15 minutes, every day. And here's the key. You're not writing this for anyone else. You're writing it for yourself. So be honest, brutally honest. Because if you lie in your review, you're only lying to yourself. And lying to yourself is how you stay stuck forever. Habit number 5. Mandatory rest days. This one will feel the most wrong. And it's probably the most important. 1 day per week, you don't trade. You don't look at charts. You don't check prices. You don't think about the market. You rest. Completely. Most traders think rest is wasted time. They think if they're not in the market, they're missing opportunity, they're falling behind, they're not working hard enough. But here's the truth. Trading is mentally exhausting. Every decision drains cognitive energy. Every trade creates stress, even winning trades. And if you never rest, that exhaustion compounds. Your decision quality declines. Your emotional control weakens. You start making mistakes you wouldn't make if you were fresh. The best traders in the world take breaks. Not because they're lazy, because they understand performance. You can't perform at your peak if you're running on empty. Athletes rest, musicians rest, even soldiers rest between missions. But traders think they're different. They think they can go every single day without consequences. They're wrong. I used to trade 6 days a week, sometimes 7 if crypto was moving on Sunday. I thought I was being dedicated. I thought more time meant more money. What actually happened was I burned out. Month 3, I started making stupid mistakes. Month 4, I started dreading opening the platform. Month 5, I hated trading. I was exhausted, mentally, emotionally, and my results showed it. Then I talked to a trader who'd been consistently profitable for 8 years. I asked him his secret. He said something I didn't expect. He said, I only trade 4 days a week. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. He explained that early in his career, he traded every day. And he noticed his worst trades always happened when he was tired. So he started taking 1 day off per week. Just 1. And his results improved immediately, not because he was trading more, because he was trading better. He was showing up fresh, sharp, ready. So I tried it. I picked Sunday as my mandatory rest day. No charts, no prices, no market talk, just rest. The first Sunday felt wrong. I kept thinking about what I was missing. I kept wanting to check my phone. I felt guilty, like I should be working. But I stuck to it. And Monday morning, something was different. I felt sharp, clear, excited to trade, not drained, not burnt out, excited. That sharpness showed in my trading. Better decisions, better patience, better execution. By week 4, I noticed something else. My Sunday rest day wasn't just rest, it was perspective. When you step away from the market completely, you see things you can't see when you're in it every day. You see patterns in your behavior. You see what's actually working and what's not. You see the bigger picture. That perspective is invaluable. And you can't get it if you never step away. Here's the rule. Pick one day per week. Mark it on your calendar. On that day, you do not trade. You do not look at charts. You do not check prices on your phone. You rest. Do something else. Spend time with family. Go outside. Read a book. Exercise. Doesn't matter what you do. Just don't trade. And here's the key. This isn't optional. It's mandatory. Even if the market is moving, even if you feel great, even if you think you'll miss something, you rest. Because rest is part of the system. Rest is what keeps you sustainable. Rest is what allows you to do this for years instead of burning out in months. If you can't take one day off per week, you don't have a trading career. You have an addiction, and addictions don't end well. Professional traders protect their mental energy like it's their most valuable resource, because it is. Your capital can be rebuilt. Your mental clarity can't. So protect it. Rest. Now here's what nobody tells you about these 5 habits. Each one alone is helpful. But together, they're transformative. Because they don't just improve your trading, they change who you are. Journaling teaches you honesty. Limiting your trades teaches you discipline. Preparation teaches you patience. Review teaches you growth. Rest teaches you sustainability. And when you combine all 5, you become a different trader. Not because you learned a better strategy, because you became a better person. I know because I lived it. 6 months of doing these 5 habits every single day. No exceptions. And by month 6, I wasn't just profitable. I was calm. I wasn't just making money. I was enjoying the process. I wasn't just trading better. I was living better. Because these habits don't stay in trading. They bleed into everything. The discipline you build by limiting your trades shows up in other areas of your life. The honesty you develop through journaling makes all your relationships better. The patience from preparation makes you better at everything. That's the real power of habits. They don't just change what you do, they change who you are. And who you are determines everything.